A lot of towns and municipalities are starting to give away free mulch, and it's a way to get rid of their sewage. What they do is they spray finely ground wood chips with sewage, and after they let it sit a few months, the good bacteria kills the harmful and stinky bacteria and makes it safe to give away. Thousands of trucks go through this particular place a year, and people truck it out all over the place for their flower beds, for their gardens, for everything, just for fill, all sorts of stuff. But this was a 20-degree day. Irregardless, the bacteria in this stuff was running so hot it was literally lighting itself on fire. His temperature probe says 73 C, which converts to around 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to use this stuff to make a free heater, so I had him fill my dump truck with about 10,000 pounds. The plan was to dump a pile right next to my camper cabin, but I had to lay down a base first, an insulating base, so I just used the leaves for this. I gathered up as many as possible. You can see here this stuff's lighting up my thermal imaging camera, and it's 100 degrees just on the surface alone, and this is on a 5-degree day. This insane heat is created by nothing but microbiology. I couldn't dump the pile exactly where I wanted because of overhead lines, so I had to dump it kind of where I could and move it slowly, little by little, with my front loader. Irregardless of it being frigid cold, this stuff was keeping me warm just from being around it. The aerobic bacteria that's making the heat in this pile needs a consistent supply of air and water. It needs to kind of stay moist in order to make heat. So I threw a garden hose that I drilled holes into in the pile along with sticks and leaves to kind of aerate it. Had to keep spraying the pile to keep it wet too, and I had to widen my pile, so I laid down some old nasty plywood that I found as kind of like an insulator between the pile and the ground. I have a whole bunch of 1-inch conduit kicking around, and I just drilled more holes in it and stuck it in the pile for a source of air and water in the future, so I can spray water down those if I have to in the future, along with more sticks and leaves, as you can see here. This mulch was pretty fine, so I had to make sure to kind of break it up with more sticks and leaves. The pile was getting so big at this point that I literally had to build a ramp for my tractor in order for it to get up there. I had a whole bunch of metal surplus liquid-tight conduit, but I had a whole bunch of fiber optic cable in it. I had to literally yank that cable out, and I wanted to use the outside casing to kind of transport the hot water from the pile into the house, into like some kind of radiator that I would make. It was pretty tough getting that fiber optic wire out, but I was able to do it, and I had quite a bit of this stuff. As you can see here, I was really hoping it would work and actually hold water and hold pressure. The stuff was metal on the inside and black on the outside. It would have been perfect for that heat transfer. I did my best to make a giant coil on the top of the pile, covering as much square area as possible to capture as much heat as I possibly could. I still had a little bit of material left, so I buried it with another 2 to 3 feet of compost. After burying that coil, I did my best to kind of like make a reverse dome shape so that pile could capture as much natural precipitation and water as possible. I had some foam pipe insulation left over from last winter, and I insulated the 2 lines that were leading into the camper cabin, as you can see here. The whole setup is kind of crude and ghetto, but it's going to work for our testing purposes at least, or for the prototype. This is a nasty old radiator that I had. Unfortunately, it's the only thing I had to use as a heat exchanger. First, I tried to glue tubes into it to connect to, and that didn't really work out that well, as you'll see in a little while here. I actually took advantage of the lack of snow. The snow melted, so I was able to gather up a bunch more leaves, but I was working hard instead of smart, so I started using my back blade on my newer tractor, and that worked out pretty good to make some pretty big piles. Kind of wish I would have thought of it sooner. It saved me a bunch of time. I also bought some square bales from a local farmer for $50. I figured this would be good insulation on the top of the pile. The pile started looking really sloppy, but it worked for our purposes and for our testing purposes, and it would really help to maintain the heat under that pile along with the leaves. And you can see I'm dumping the leaves on top of the hay here. I really should have done the hay on top of the leaves, but either way, they're both really good insulators, provided completely free by nature. And then I put some sheets, some old nasty sheets on top of that to help keep the leaves in. This is a reservoir, or a big pot that I had, and we're going to use it for our testing purposes. This is a 12-volt pump, a really cheap 12-volt pump. I'm going to have it circulate the water through the pile and then back out into the reservoir, and we're going to see if we get any heat coming out of that pile. I'm testing the water temperature here and it's around 52 degrees as you can see, and then I have a pot that's not being heated next to it just so we can make sure that the room temperature isn't affecting the water greatly. Right away as the water started coming out, it was immediately increased in temperature by like 20 degrees and it just kept going up from there. Within 20 minutes it hit 80 degrees, and then after that about 100 degrees. Maybe about a half hour total, it was around 100 degrees. This was a pretty exciting moment for me. That pile was making really good heat and the heat exchanger was working rather well, and you could see that our pot was freezing here. I had an old circulator pump that I got for free. I had to unseize it with some WD-40 and get it working again. Circulator pumps are more meant for this, and they're meant to run continuously, and they're very, very quiet, especially in a boiler system, so I figured it'd be a better fit. The radiator was crudely connected. You can see it's like 20 feet away from the wall here, but it's good enough for our testing purposes. Getting this thing to prime was quite a fight. It took me over an hour and a half, and I just felt like something was wrong with that new circulator pump. Maybe a leak outside, a bunch of air had been introduced into the line, something. But then we actually managed to get some results. 120 degrees. That was crazy. Just as it was starting up too, so I had a feeling it would get a lot hotter. But there was a disaster. Remember that line I used that wasn't actually meant to be water line? Yeah. Turns out the higher pressure from that circulator pump blew holes all over in it, and when I went outside to check, man, it was spraying everywhere. We were back at square one, and I was pretty disappointed. I really wanted to give up there and just continue it maybe a month later, but I decided to keep trying, and this time I made it a lot better. I ripped out those adhesive sealant connections that I had made previously, and I actually used mechanical connections this time, a lot better, with actual hose clamps, and I elbowed the pump so it was a lot closer to the wall. That way that radiator wouldn't be sticking 20 feet out from the wall anymore like it was before. This time I actually opted to use real water line too. You can see I got some white PEX here connecting to the radiator. I also had a whole bunch of black water line that I gathered up around the property. It was around a ½ inch. I was able to fuse it together with some pieces of PEX. I was going to use the black in the pile and then the white to transport the water to and from the pile. Black absorbs more wavelengths or heat, and white reflects more wavelengths or heat. Just pulling off the top layer of insulation from the pile, you can see we're at near 120 degrees. I didn't bury my new coil as deep. I kind of regret that. I just kind of buried it shallow, maybe about 6 inches of material over top of it, and then I used the white PEX to go into the camper cabin. After completing the connections, I kicked everything on. I had to purge the air out of the system again, but it worked this time, and I could hear the water flowing through the radiator. Instead of being a dumbass like before, I actually checked my line with fluid flowing through it before I buried it to make sure nothing was leaking. I really should have done that the first time, but for whatever reason I didn't. I put the insulation back on the top of the pile and I insulated the pipes going into the cabin as well. The wind started picking up and there was quite a storm moving in, but I had to finish this. Nothing like doing something twice, but that's a story of my life. This is a reservoir I had to make. As the fluid in the radiator expands and contracts, it's going to pull and push excess fluid out that radiator cap, so I improvised one out of an old bottle. That first night, the fluid in the radiator didn't go above 75 degrees. It just stuck around there for the entire night. Even with that more powerful circulator pump on, it seemed I had shocked my bacteria. They had to recover. That night, I intentionally let the wood stove go out, and I tested the radiator the next morning. It had went up to around 90 degrees, so it was climbing in temperature irregardless. Later that same day, I went outside with the thermal imaging camera. I wanted to look at my lines, and they were leaking quite a bit of heat, irregardless of that insulation I had put over them, so I have to re-insulate those a little better. Up to this point, that pile had been complete for around 2 weeks, and that thing was still pumping out crazy heat. It showed no signs of letting up. Later that night, I had a look at the wood stove and the radiator with the thermal imaging camera, and you could see the radiator is far outperforming the wood stove. And it was only around 16 degrees outside, very cold up here in this mountain. I didn't heat it all with the wood stove that night, and this is the next morning, and the temperature still continued to climb to around 95 degrees. And you can see here that the wood stove is around 70 degrees. That entire night, with no other sources of heat, that little radiator managed to keep the whole camper cabin around 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I made sure to take another shot with a thermal imager just so you could see how effective this thing is and how cold the wood stove is. This is the only thing in the entire camper cabin putting off heat, and you can see it's just glowing. At this point, I just decided to use it as like a natural baseboard radiator or something like that. You can literally see the heat coming off the top of this thing. That's crazy. And you can see the things above it heated, like the bottles of liquid. They're almost acting like a thermal battery. This test was 15 days after completing the pile, and that pile showed no signs of letting up. It just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter. 2 or 3 days after that, I had to go up to the city for work for a week, and I left that heater going while I was gone, hopefully to keep the cabin unfrozen. This is what happened. I just walked in to the camper cabin after being gone about 4 to 5 days, and my biggest concern was it would be freezing in here. We have less than 20 degrees outside right now, and I can't even see my breath. There's no other heat in here. So let's see how warm it is in here with just heating from the compost. All right, so this guy stayed around 90 degrees. This hasn't been run in days. So it kept it around 45 degrees in here. That's amazing. That's amazing. Just above freezing. That's perfect. Oh my God. So that's just with the half-assed setup, which I'm going to improve. Incredible. That's incredible. This would have cost me so much money in electricity. Heating this or keeping this at this temperature for the last 4 or 5 days when it's in the teens up here, literally in the teens. Here, I'll take a temperature reading outside. 7. Boy, it just keeps getting colder the higher I go up. That is nuts. And you can see the door is sealed up like shit. Like, there's so much work I need to do still. So as you can see, it's just glowing here, but there's just nothing in the area of the wood stove. Absolutely nothing. I'm making a new heat exchanger and I'll post an update soon. Thank you to my subscribers, and be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Do your best and do the right thing when nobody is looking. Also, a very special thank you to the Reddit community who helped me out during all this.